The mill race of Battle Creek.
Did you ever wonder why Battle Creek is located where it is instead of 5 miles north or 3 miles east? The answer is water. Before there were highways or roads, water was the main route of travel. Without a reliable water supply, people could not get together to form communities. Battle Creek was no exception.
I don't swim.
The city is located where it is because of the vision of one of its early founders, a man named Sands McCamley. Surveys of a region by the U.S. government of the Michigan Territory interested him. He saw not just one, but 2 rivers joining together in these surveys. When he came to this area in 1830, he traveled first from New York across the Erie Canal, then across Lake Erie, and finally overland from Detroit. When he arrived, he confirmed that the Kalamazoo River was on a higher ground than the Battle Creek River. He knew the possibilities of water power whenever 2 rivers came together, creating a confluence. He figured that if he could build a canal between the 2 rivers, he could create a lot of natural energy using a rapid flow of water. The water could turn powerful wheels inside of mills, the main factories of the early 1800s. People at the time called this rapid flow of water a race, and with mills built along the canal, it would be called the mill race for the region. Before the mill race was built, people had to travel for nearly 100 miles to find particular mills for such basic supplies as wheat flour. In an era when transportation was by horse or on foot, Mr. McCamley called this a primitive time for the young town. He wrote, "There was an immense power here, but it was unused." Building the canal would be a big project. Mr. McCamley brought in workers who had built the Erie Canal. They joined local settlers and members of native tribes to create a crew of nearly 30 who dug a canal almost 1.25 miles long using only hand tools. Mr. McCamley's wife, Eliza, cooked over an open fire outside their log cabin. In November 1835, the canal opened and the mill race in Battle Creek was born. The first mill that was built cut lumber. The second one ground corn and wheat into flour. This was called a grist mill. Wool and cotton were brought yet to another kind of water-powered mill called a textile mill. Soon there were 18 mills on the mill race built by Sands McCamley. He needed more power. To solve that problem, Mr. McCamley created a mill pond by damming up the Kalamazoo River. The pressure from the extra water created more energy along his mill race. This raised the water so high that it often flooded local farmers' fields. By 1845, Mr. McCamley's vision was a reality. He wrote to friends back in New York to tell them about the many dry goods and grocery stores, shoe shops, hotels, and mills that were in Battle Creek. In less than 15 years, he helped create a village of 1,000 people where only 50 settlers had been before. Industry was now part of Battle Creek. Industry created mechanical challenges. Millwrights, the folks who built the mills, first had to decide what type of wheel to use. The mills in Battle Creek used 2 basic kinds at first, the undershot or the overshot wheel. Undershot wheels turned by the movement of the water stream. They created less energy from the mill race. Overshot wheels were moved by the weight of the water pushing from the top and were more efficient. Millers usually created a head race to divert water from the canal to the wheel. This water was blocked by a sluice gate, which was used to control the water running into the wheel. At the other end of the wheel, the millers had a tail race to have the water rejoin the river. The racing water turned the wheel. As the water wheel turned, it would turn an axle and gear inside the mill. A vertical gear connected with a horizontal gear would then turn an axle connected to a millstone or a saw, or even run a machine to weave cloth. Millers faced another challenge, the weather. Too little rain would lower the water below the wheel, and everything would grind to a halt. Too much rain caused flooding. A flood could wash the mill itself away or ruin the mill race. The early wooden wheels were another problem. They wore out quickly and were damaged by winter freezes. Making the wheel out of metal and enclosing it in a drum created a new device called a turbine. A turbine could stay underwater and would not freeze in winter. More than one turbine could be put into the mill to run extra machines. Mr. McCamley wasn't the only one with an ambitious plan. Ezra Convis owned land in Battle Creek but thought it was too swampy, so he sold his property and moved 3 miles upstream on the Battle Creek River. In 1835, he hired millwrights of his own, set up a dam, and created his own village called Verona. His mill used an undershot wheel. However, just 2 years later, Mr. Convis was badly injured in an accident with a runaway horse. Nobody else had the enthusiasm to continue his vision, and when the railroad later chose Battle Creek for its station, Verona failed to thrive as a village. In 1889, it was absorbed into the growing city of Battle Creek. The swampy land in Battle Creek did indeed become a problem, causing floods in the area. In the 1950s, engineers solved the problem by rerouting the Kalamazoo River into a cement canal. The confluence of rivers that had attracted Sands McCamley was now further downstream. Other mills were built around Battle Creek on other water trails: Burnham Brook, Harper Creek, Wingus Creek. They were successful, but did not become centers of industry like those of Mr. McCamley. You can't see any part of the mill race anymore. The last bits of it were filled in during a downtown renovation in the 1980s. To honor the original idea by Sands McCamley, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation built Mill Race Park. This park has a waterfall and a fieldstone race showing how the original mill race worked. On the walls of the park, there are sculptures of people clearing the land, surveying, and digging the canal. In others, they are running the mill race and grinding grain into flour. Today we still have surveyors, millwrights, and millers. People still dig ditches, clear land, and move earth, but they all use more modern equipment than the people shown in the sculptures on the Mill Race Park wall. They all work with others who have visions like Sands McCamley to make Battle Creek a great place for people to live, learn, and work.
I love living in Battle Creek.